Hello, my name is Brian David Donovan, and this is your Martial Minute. So today's lesson is practicing your forms. We're going to go over a couple of different ways that you can practice your forms. It's going to help aid in memorization and just help you overall get to know your forms a little bit better. So this way when your coach or your instructor teaches you a new form, you can get that thing down a little bit faster. The first way we're going to go over on how to practice your form is with stances and no hands. So you're going to start off your first form, so I'm going to start off on the first basic form that we teach here. It's called the small R half fist, and I'm just going to chamber my hands on my hips. If you're in a karate style or a harder style that chambers your hand on your ribs, that's fine, doesn't matter. So you're basically just going to chamber your hands wherever you chamber your hands, and you're going to start your form. So for us, I'm going to go through the entire form, walking it through it with no stances. I will still go through all the movements and all the kicks. I just won't do any hand movements such as blocks and or striking, okay? So from here, I start off, go into the next motion, and the next motion, the next motion, and the next motion, okay? Obviously, I will continue this all the way through the entire form. Again, this is one of the things that's going to help with memorization. You're going to focus on your stances. Now, if you have the luxury of being able to practice this in front of a mirror, that's great. If not, you're still going to get to know your form a little bit better because you're focusing entirely on your stances and you're disregarding the hands while you're practicing. Going along with the first method of practicing your forms, we're now going to practice a form with just hand movements and no footwork. Now, when you're practicing this, one of the ways that this confuses the students is they have a tendency to start wanting to turn direction, and the reason they want to do that is because in their mind, well, the form turns this way, so I have to turn this way in order to do this motion. But you're not going to do that. So if I start our form, we go through the salutation, and then I'm just going to go through the hand motions as I practice my form. I'm not turning directions as I do this, I'm just staying facing forward. Again, same as in the first way, if you have the ability to be able to practice this in front of a mirror, then that's going to be great because you're going to be able to see what you're doing, correct any mistakes that you're making, and then make sure that you're being as accurate and precise as possible. Okay, moving on. The next way that I want you to try practicing your forms is you're going to use all your hand movements, all your stances, everything that you got, but you're going to do it with your eyes closed. So, start your form, you're going to practice with your eyes closed, and again, I'm going to choose our basic form here. Go nice and slow, so this way you don't fall over, because you will find that it may make you dizzy a little bit. So take your time while you're doing that, okay? What you're going to find is you're not always going to end up in the same direction that you necessarily are supposed to be facing, okay? You're going to be building your confidence. You're kind of also going to be, it's similar, take it this way, it's similar to if you were practicing in this room and the lights were dimmed down and you're kind of in that meditative state. It's like the athletes call it being in the zone, okay? So you're in the zone, you're practicing. It's going to help you visualize because you're not watching yourself in the mirror. You're not stopping and checking your stances. You're not checking your punches. You're not doing anything. You're feeling for everything that you're doing and everywhere that you're stepping. Obviously, you want to make sure that you have plenty of room inside either your studio / dojo, if you're at home in your garage, driveway, if you're at a park, in your backyard, it doesn't matter. Make sure you have plenty of room. Scan out the area first, make sure there's no debris lying around because we don't want you to get hurt, okay? So practicing your forms with your eyes closed is going to be another way to get to know your forms and or your katas a little bit better. Another way to practice your forms is by changing directions. So, for example, I'm standing here in my studio, I'm facing the front wall, which a lot of us are accustomed to doing when we go to our classes, and I start practicing my forms. So, I know that the mirrors are straight in front of me. I know that there's certain objects over here, like there's a door over here, the entryway's over here, the back door's over here, training equipment's this way, this way, this way, this way. So, the reason that this is going to help you is because subconsciously, you're going to be used to picking up the background environments in your subconscious, so this way you're always going to know, it's like, oh, when I do this one motion, this is always to my left. When I do this stance and this movement, this is always behind me, or this is in front of me, or that, or this or that, as an example, okay? So I always start facing the mirrors, I move here, it's like, okay, I'm moving towards the front door, I turn around, I move towards the back door, yada, yada, yada. So what we're going to do is instead, make sure, again, you have plenty of room. I'm going to turn 1/4 turn. Or I'm going to turn completely 180 degrees around me, facing the back wall, and then I'm going to start my form. Well, again, my brain's not used to seeing these objects, so it's not used to seeing the back door off to my right. It's not used to seeing the front door off to my left. So that's going to play a little bit of a trick on you, and you'll find that it does confuse you as you're going through the forms a little bit, okay? So try changing different directions. Start facing north, east, south, west, whatever you're not accustomed to doing. And the last way to practice your forms for this particular video, we are going to do a part 2 because I have a whole bunch of other ways I want to show you, so this way you guys can be more successful in practicing your katas and your forms. Alright, so this one actually goes along with the last one. Instead of necessarily starting facing a different direction, you're going to pause and change directions throughout your form. So as an example, I'm going to start here, I'm going to go through my salutation. Yes, I'm doing this very sloppy. I'm going to go through about 2 or 3 movements, and then bang, I'm going to pause. From there, turn 1/4 turn to your right. And now continue. You're going to find that it's going to confuse you. You're going to end up, more than likely, what I've seen students do is more than likely they end up starting to face the right direction again because they're like, oh, well, I'm supposed to go here and do this and this and this. But you're not going to. You should end up, if you change directions 1/4 turn every 3 to 4 movements, and again, you really have to concentrate and think about what you're doing in your forms, you're going to find that typically you don't face the same direction unless it just happens to add up to where you face the same direction. But you're not going to face the same direction when you're done practicing this form. So again, I turn 1/4 turn here, and now I know it's like, okay, well I need to turn 180 degrees, or I'm sorry, 270 degrees to go this way. Now that completely changes what I'm doing. And it's like, okay, well now turn 1/4 turn here. It's like, okay, well now we're moving, and then stop, and then again change 1/4 turn. And that's going to help me think about my form and get to know my form a little bit better. It's really easy just to get the momentum going. Start from the beginning, and then just let the momentum carry you through without even thinking about it. It's kind of like when you're driving home from work and you're concentrating on something else, and you get home and you're like, whoa, I didn't even realize I got home. It can be the same thing with our forms as well. We start the form, we get to the end of it, and you're like, whoa, I didn't even realize I did the whole form, okay? So these are some of the basic training methods that I use for my students to help them get better at a lot of their forms, okay? Like I said, I'm going to make a part 2 because I have a whole bunch more ideas on how to get better at your forms as well. So until next time, I am Brian David Donovan, and that was your Martial Minute.